Hey everyone, this is Luke again, and welcome back to yet another Ninjago video onto the channel today. Now, this is going to be a very sensitive topic that I'm going to be talking about, so if you don't believe you can handle these sorts of topics, then I suggest you click off this video right now and watch something else. But if you don't care, or don't care about my opinion, or just want to watch the video, then we'll go right ahead. I made a video a couple weeks back or a month back talking about a creator, Chris Creator, who is very homophobic. And the reasoning for that is that he thinks the character of Geo from Ninjago Dragons Rising has killed his perception of his favorite character, Cole, because of the somewhat ish likelihood that that Cole and Geo are in a romantic relationship. And because he can't stand the thought of two men being happy for one another and loving each other because it goes against God's will or goes against God's creation or some bullshit like that. He thinks he must be a frickin' moral grandstand warrior and fight against the evil. There is no evil. But what I want to talk about is less of that dumbass and more so of why I don't think Cole and Geo are going to be a thing. Because I know that's been a hot topic of discussion for over a year of whether Cole and Geo are going to be a thing in the actual show. Now, I remember I also made a video from last year's Pride video, why I don't think there's going to be an LGBTQ plus main character. And I still stand by what I said in that video. But the thing is, Geo is a side character, so technically they can get away with it because he's not super important to the overall plot, unless needed to be. And I do believe that Geo is in fact gay. I do think so, because the writer that created him is gay himself, and he just likes Cole to such a degree that I'm like, is he really just friendly with him, or does he really think there's something more between them? I don't know. It just seems like he really likes Cole, you know. But then again, I could be just overthinking this, like most people are. But I know there's been a bunch of criticisms around the ship, but I want to, get rid of all the homophobes. I want to get rid of, all of the hatred surrounding this ship, because personally, if it's not harmful, it's not a harmful ship at all, and I think people should be allowed to ship what they want. I mean, some of the non-canon ships are actually better than some of the current canon ones. I mean, Kyler is considered canon, yet I think it's kind of crap. It's kind of trash. So, there's that. But here are my overall criticisms of the geode ship, or lost shipping as it's called it. And before you say it, no, one of the criticisms is not that they're both two men, because that's stupid, as I said earlier, and that's homophobic. That's not a valid criticism. Here is some valid criticisms. Number one, it's an interspecies relationship. That I can understand why people might just not feel comfortable around it, because remember, Geo is a Munce with the coloring of a gecko. He's not technically human. And you could argue that that's kind of racist in a way. You could argue with that, because I know there was the whole thing, Geo is an embodiment of racism, because of mixed race people who may have like one white parent or one African American parent, and they get ostracized for not being 100% white or 100% black or something like that. I don't have any experience with that, unfortunately, so I can't say that with 100% certainty. If any of y'all are like mixed, please tell me your stories about being mixed in the comments because I would really like to know about this. Same thing if you have come out as gay, lesbian, transgender, all of that. I want to hear your stories because I really think there are some interesting stories to tell. Don't worry, I'm not going to share it with the rest of the world. I am not that type of person. So I could understand that criticism of them being interspecies, considering the only two other canon ships are either between both two humans or two robots for Zane and Pixel. So to have one that's kind of one human versus one character that's not human, it does kind of raise an eyebrow, but it's not a deal breaker for some. I mean, it could be a deal breaker for some people. So there's that. Number two, and this is my criticism, my personal criticism, it doesn't fit Cole's character to be in a romantic relationship of any kind. And the reason I say this is because Cole likes everybody. He likes everybody regardless of where they come from, who they are, what they identify as, whatever. Because he grew up in a somewhat similar background. I mean, he lost his mother at a young age. He ran away from, his father when he forced him to dance. And that's how he became a ninja. So, you would think that this would be a easy way to get in a romantic relationship. It's actually quite the opposite. Um, because of the fact he likes everybody, it's like he doesn't want to prioritize one person above another unless it's like someone he's super duper close with. Like he's not gonna prioritize a random civilian over someone like Lloyd or Zane or something like that because those two are actually super close with him. But with Geo, he's been close with him because of the merge. And while I definitely think it's possible, the thing is, I just don't think he's that type of person to want romantic love. Like if you are his friend, that's all he cares about. If you like him for who he is, he'll like you for who you are. He's just that type of person. He's a nice guy, you know? And while I just don't think it would work with his character that much. That's why I think Geo might be in love with him, but not necessarily the other way around. And that perfectly goes into my third point. If they were to be in a relationship, it would be one-sided. One-sided relationships never work. That was my main criticism of Jay and Nia for the longest time. If you remember going back years and years into my channel, I made a video years ago. One of my most popular videos is why Jay and Nia don't work anymore, because it was one-sided. Because Jay would do anything for Nia, but Nia wouldn't necessarily do the same, or at least doesn't show it. But that was before I figured out Nia had a different love language than just straight up going, I love you, I love you. So while I definitely think Geo could definitely be in love with Cole, can you say the same thing about Cole and Geo loving Geo? That's the issue here. Both sides have to love each other equally, in my personal opinion, for a romantic relationship to work. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Plain and simple. And then we go to the fourth criticism, which is something I mentioned in my previous Pride post, which was censorship issues. The problem with this is that a lot of the Middle Eastern countries are very notoriously anti-LGBTQ. That's not me trying to be a downer. That's not me trying to ruin anyone's parade. That's just an honest-to-God fact. I don't know what to tell you. They just don't like anything gay related. So if they were to be a thing, it would be immensely censored in those countries, to the point maybe they would even outright ban the show solely for that purpose. Even if we think it's stupid, it's their laws, and they hold the final say at the end of the day. And I feel like Lego, even though they are very diverse and are very inclusive, they don't want to avoid they want to avoid a PR catastrophe by doing that, even if it means opening up representation, even if that means so. And I just don't don't think they will allow it, even if Lego wanted to. The other countries simply just will not allow it, and they have more of a power than Lego does, unfortunately. So even if people wanted Geo to be a thing, they would have to go through a bunch of very homophobic governments, and that's a battle you're going to lose. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I hate being that guy, but that's the truth. And yeah. And my last reasoning for why I don't think Cole and Geo are going to be a thing is that, to put it simply, it's not an important storyline. It's not really important, at least right now. At least it's not that important to the overall canon of Ninjago. At the very most, it would be a side plot. And that's kind of what they're forced to do if it push comes to shove. And I just don't think they're going to make it a full-fledged storyline around the relationship, because unless it's a canon relationship, then I just don't think they're going to do a thing. But like I mentioned before, reasoning number 4, the homophobic countries, is probably the biggest reason why they can't do it, simply for that, because they don't want to end up in a PR nightmare with other countries and lose a lot of money from those countries, because Lego values money above all, because it's a business at the end of the day. Money is what makes the world go round. And the more money they get, the more Ninjago gets up. And I just don't want Ninjago's fate to be I don't want it to be prematurely canceled just for the sake of some representation. And that gives me to reason number, 6. Is that some people think that it would be called forced representation. I think there is a term for it for a more business side of things called pink capitalism, I think, if I remember correctly. And I think that's sorry about that. I think when when you see a bunch of like corporations, they just slap a pride logo on there and claim that they are, that they claim they like the gays. And you've probably seen the memes online of corporations, when July 1st hits, they remove all of their colors and just go back to where they were. They just go back. That's what I mean. A lot of people are worried that it would seem forced and only doing it to fit a quota instead of an actual genuine representation, because writing actual gay rep is kind of hard to do. It's kind of hard to do, or at least kind of hard to make it seem natural without it being their entire character or something like that. Because that was one of the big criticisms I keep hearing about gay rep or lesbian rep or something, is that it's their entire character, which can come across as incredibly obnoxious. But if it's just a part of who they are, that's different, you know. And they just don't want, even if they want to do it, it's more of the fact that they just don't trust the writers enough to warrant enough of genuine trust, because there's a lot of trust to be built around this. You have to have a lot of trust in the writers to write great material. I mean, I trusted them to write Crystallize. Look what happened. It was filled with terrible writing throughout. But I'm not saying they can't pull it off, but they would have to do so in a very, very respectful way. And I just feel like with all of these factors in, I just don't see how Cole and Geo could be a couple. I just don't see it. And notice how none of the reasons I said were it's because of they're two guys. I didn't say that because that's a dumb reason and that's a homophobic reason. You're just an asshole if you say that. You're just an asshole. Um, I gave my honest thoughts, and I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm not trying to be homophobic. I'm just stating the obvious, and I'm just stating the facts. I'm just stating what needs to be said. And I'm sorry if any of you got offended by what I said. I'm sorry. That was not my intention. I really tried my best to articulate the words I was saying, so that I don't come across as homophobic, because even though I may not say things that are homophobic, people can interpret such things as homophobic. So if you're a queer person that watches any of my videos, I hope this video um, is not meant to attack you or any way. It's just a fair bit of criticism. And if you ship Geode, that's perfectly fine. And if you agree with me and you still ship Geode, that is perfectly fine. That's all more to you. It gives you more of a reason to create fan content like, art or fanfics or stuff like that. And I usually don't like talking about ships because in the past I have not talked about them in a very respectful way, especially my ships tier list video, which was my most viewed video for the longest time before I privated it, and I was disgusted by it because I feel like I was being an asshole in that video. And I feel like with these past two videos, I feel like I reprimanded that mistake. Um, and I just hope that this video will come across in a positive light, because I really tried my best to articulate the way I'm saying and to try to say it in a not homophobic way and tried to do so in a more honest way. So if any of you who are gay, lesbian, transgender, um, bisexual, pansexual, have seen this video, and if you got a little bit angry about it, I'm sorry. That was not my intention. Hopefully we can have a fair discussion about it in the comments, and if you're a Cole and Geo shipper, I'm sorry if I kind of rained on your parade or anything. I'm sorry. That was not my intention as well. I'm just stating what needs to be said, unfortunately. And at the end of the day, this is just my opinion, because I don't have any say in how the show runs. If they want to make Cole and Geo canon, by all means, go for it. They just have to really think about it, really think all the way through with this before going full 100% through with it. That's all I'm saying here. Is that the writers really need to think about this in order to go through with it. But anyways, what do you guys think about the Cole and Geo ship? Do you think that they will be canon, or do you think it's going to stay as a sort of not canon thing? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel button, click on the red subscribe button, and click on the notification bell to see every video that I will upload. And I'll see all you folks in the next video. Bye-bye!